welcome back to Michelle's Beauty Guide. On today's episode, we are finally getting into some hair tutorials. I know that we were a little makeup heavy in the beginning, but I wanted to get all of that out of the way, and now that Halloween is past, we are getting into some hair tutorials. So today is going to be a very, very important topic and something that I think as a hairstylist, we try to reiterate a lot to our clients. And so that is our first topic of the day, which is heat. Using heat on your hair. It comes actually in more forms than you may think of on a day-to-day basis. And so that is what we are getting into today, talking about forms of heat, how they affect your hair, how they affect your hair color, the condition of your hair, how your styles are lasting, the condition of your hair over the years. So, like I said, very important to me and the hairstylist community that you all understand a few things about heat. So, like I said, that's our topic for today. Without further ado, let's get to it. Forms of heat. Of course, I think the first thing that our minds go to when we hear heat and hair in the same sentence is heat protection, and we're talking about product. So using a heat protectant on your hair when you're using a blow dryer, a flat iron, a curling iron, a crimping iron, any sort of tool that you put to your hair that plugs into an outlet, you need to be using a heat protectant. What heat protection does is it creates a little barrier on the outside of your hair to help kind of coddle it and protect it while you are putting heat stress on your hair. So use a heat protectant, and I will be reiterating that throughout this episode, so get used to it. Next form of heat comes in water. When it comes to washing your hair at home, we're gonna start with this. If you are taking scalding hot showers, that can open the cuticle of your hair, which is your inner layer of your hair. That's where things hang out and they like to live in your hair, okay? This is where your pigment goes. If you are chemically coloring your hair, if you're doing permanent color, if you're getting toners, if you do highlights, balayage, you have any sort of hair color on your hair, this is very, very important to understand. So when you put heat, it opens things up, okay? Whatever's sitting on the outside of your hair, if it's a demi, if it's permanent color and it's living inside your hair strands are opening up to that heat, and then color is coming out. Things are wearing down, they're fading. The hotter temperature you use, the more is going to come out. This is why for vivids and fashion tones, you use cold water, because heat is going to just make that come right out of your hair. So lowering your temperature when you're shampooing your hair, especially if you have hair color of any sort, is going to help your color last longer. Then we talk about the frequency of washing your hair. This also can wear down your hair color, and it can also cause your scalp to react. So when it comes to hair color, if you're washing your hair every single day, your hair color is not going to last as long as someone who washes their hair every 5 days. When it comes to the condition of your hair from washing frequently, I will say I used to wash my hair every day, every other day. I am now washing my hair every 4 to 5 days average. This is a process, and it's what I'm going to talk about in my next video next week. But when you are washing your hair every single day, you are taking oils that live on your scalp that are intended to be on your scalp, okay? So technically it's called sebum. It comes from your scalp. It's just another word for oil. It's natural. When you're washing your hair every single day, sebum is removed, and then your scalp goes, oh, all that's gone, I need to replace it. So it's amping up and producing at a faster speed, which is why if you're washing your hair every day, your hair gets so oily so fast. Some clients of mine I've heard even by the end of the day. So that is from an imbalance. Your scalp is trying to rebalance, and you're throwing off that balance every time you're washing your hair every single day. Another form of heat is going to be your environment. So when I talk environment, we are talking about where you live at, what the climate is like there, how much sunshine, rainfall, pollution, even sweat, all of this is environmental heat. When we talk about heat and the ability of your style to last is going to be very dependent on environment. So if you are in an area where it is, we'll use North Carolina here for an example, it is hot, especially through the summer. It's humid, it is sticky, humid. So when you go to curl your hair, your curls are falling, your hair's frizzing because of environmental heat. Your hair, especially if it's lacking moisture, is going to grab out at any moisture it can get. All of its arms are reaching in all directions. It wants moisture. If your at-home hair care is not providing moisture, your hair is going to be a giant frizz ball day in and day out. Throughout my tutorials, we are going to talk about a lot of these things on a repetitive kind of way, because heat is very imperative to our hair, and whether you like it or not, it can dramatically affect things. I just want to kind of talk a little bit about how heat protectant affected me personally and my hair. I used to wash my hair every single day or every other day. I was using heat on my hair constantly, and what happened was this was probably like 3 years ago. My hair was very fine, very flat to my head, very stringy. I didn't feel like my hair was strong. I didn't feel like my hair was growing. It would get to the end and it would just be like super scraggly, and I just felt like my hair was stuck. My hair was not growing. And that is when I did a nice healthy chop and I decided to make changes, and heat was one of those changes. So I scaled back my heat use. I made sure that I'm using a heat protectant every single time I'm using a form of heat on my hair with, curling iron, blow dryer, whatever. Stretching out those wash days, training my hair, getting creative with my styles so that my hair is living a healthier lifestyle, so to speak. And I can definitely say I felt a difference. So throughout my videos, I'll be giving you my tips and tricks for healthy, beautiful hair, different hairstyles, different ways to make your hairstyles last, and all that good stuff. So I'm so excited. We're gonna get to our demo now. I hope that you enjoy. So I have already prepped my hair by using my dry shampoo. I use the Davines Hair Refresher. I absolutely love this dry shampoo. It's invisible, it's super lightweight, and I just absolutely love it. I do wish it came in a larger bottle, but unfortunately, this is the size that we have, so I rely on dry shampoo a lot, especially since I have trained my hair to not wash it quite as often. So what I did was I just kind of horseshoe sectioned around my hair, sprayed it at the roots, did that down my entire head, since it has been like probably 5 days since I washed my hair, and I'm going to let that set. So it's already been in my hair for probably 10-15 minutes. And what you want to do with dry shampoo, once you have it in, you want to let it sit for at least 10 minutes, because that gives it time to sit on the scalp and really suck up all of that oil that's in your hair. And so now that it's set, I am going to go through and I'm just going to wrap up my hair really well. You want to kind of fish in between your hair, and then literally like you're shampooing your hair, just back and forth. You want to be fairly vigorous, just to make sure that you work it in there really well. And as you can see, I'm literally using shampooing motion, so that's why it's called dry shampoo, because it's meant to be worked into the hair. So after I've manipulated it into my scalp and worked it through really well, I'm going to go through and brush my hair very thoroughly. I am using a Boar bristle brush. This has really fine bristles, so it reaches all of your hair while being very gentle and really helps to separate them. When I brush my hair, I'm going to brush in every direction. So I'm going to start on this side. I'm going to brush all of the hair back. And then what I do is I flip it. So I'm going to brush all of the hair from this side of my head over to the opposite side, and I'm working all the way down and back my part. And now I'm going to do that same thing in the other direction. So I'm going to brush all of this hair back down. I'm going to brush this side back away from my face. Make sure to get the underneath as well. And then again, I'm going to flip it and just being very, very thorough. So what this does is it really helps to guide your hair away from the scalp. Your hair is going to want to fall down, and what brushing it up the opposite direction does is helps to guide it in all directions so that your hair is not always just falling like super flat to your head. And then I'll flip my head over and I'll brush everything towards my face. And what that part does is helps me to get my whirl that's in the back of my head. I have a whirl that tends to split, and so I like to especially make sure I'm brushing that area so that all of that hair gets to go in every direction, and it helps to spread out that cowlick a little bit. All right, so now that I have prepped my hair, the topic, of course, for today is heat protection. So if you are using any sort of hot tool, you need to be using heat protection on your hair. It is so important to protect your hair. So what heat protectant does is it kind of encapsulates your hair and puts a nice little protective shield over it. And that shield helps so that heat isn't constantly damaging your hair. Another thing to be mindful about is how frequent you're using heat on your hair. So I used to use heat on my hair probably like every day, and now I maybe use it twice a week because I want to make sure that I'm giving my hair a break. Our hair is not meant to like have heat and hot tools on it all the time, constantly. So spreading out your heat use, I definitely recommend that as long, as far as keeping healthy hair, you want to spread out that heat use. You also want to be mindful of the temperature that you are putting on your hair. I am going to be using the Conair U-Curl. This is just a nice tapered wand curling iron. I have it set to 330, okay? So my hair is fine to medium as far as the individual strand, and then it's like a medium density. So my hair naturally has a little bit of wave, so it can hold curl, and my strands themselves are a little finer. So I'm using 330 heat because I do not need 400-degree heat on my hair. The thicker that your hair strands are, the more coarse your hair is, the higher heat you can use. And even at that, you want to be mindful of how long you're leaving that heat on your hair. So, like I said, the first step is going to be heat protectant. I am using the MELU hair shield. This is also by Davines, and this you can use on wet or dry hair. So this is my product of choice. I'm going to start by misting this through all of my hair, and I'm just going to shake, pull apart the hair so that I make sure that I'm getting the top of my hair, I'm getting underneath, I'm getting inside all of my density. If you're just misting your heat protection over top, just like this, and you're not combing it through or anything, you need to start doing that because you want to make sure that all of your hair is protected, not just the top portion. So now I'm going to go in with a wide tooth comb, and I'm just going to brush all of that product through. And this also gives it time to dry a little bit because it is a liquid, and you don't really want to be using hot tools on your hair when it's wet, unless obviously a blow dryer. But if you are curling or flat ironing your hair and your hair is wet, that is a huge no-no. So you want to make sure that you just brush it through really thoroughly. And now we are ready to go in and curl. So I typically do not section my hair when I curl, and I'm just gonna show like my go-to easy kind of beach waves with my wand curling iron. So I'm going to start by taking the sections around my face. I'm taking like a little triangle right there, and that encompasses my bang. And I have to take my section, I'm gonna make sure that it's combed through nicely. I'm gonna take my wand and I'm going to set it and wrap once, and then I'm gonna move it down, and then I'm gonna wrap twice. And I like to make sure that all of my hair is flat along the curling iron. I don't like mine to be like twisted up, because that gives you a little more of like a coily effect. And I am wanting bigger curls than what this flat iron gives me. So I'm wrapping it twice, I'm holding the tail, and then I'm just running it up and down a few times. And then that gives me my curl. And then I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to continue this line right here. I'm just going to section to behind my ear. And if that section gets a little too thick, I'll just shave that off so that it just goes to the back of my ear. And then still, I'm going to direct it towards my face. I'm going to comb through with my fingers, and then I'm going to place my flat iron and flat wrap my hair around the curling iron. And I do it 2 times. I hold at the very end of my tail, and then I move down, I move back up a little bit, I move down, and then I'll just go like that, and there's my curl. So I'm holding tension on the very end of my hair, but I'm not pulling my hair too much, I'm not using too high of heat, I'm not using it on the curling iron for too long. These are all things that you need to pay attention to when you're doing your hair. And if your hair is super damaged and you're wondering why, I would be willing to bet that this is one of the top reasons. So we are going to flat wrap. I did this one 3 times because it's a little longer. And then I'm just going to slide. I slide all the way down till I've got about 1.5 inches to 2 inches hanging out, and then I'll slide back up. And like I said, I'm doing this because I want to control how big my curl is, because I don't like super teeny tiny curls, even though my hair is more fine. So all of my sections are probably gonna be about like 2 inches, just to prevent my hair from getting too curly. I want it to be more of like a really pretty loose wave. And then if things get separated, you can just like twist it and leave it there. And then I'll section down again. So I'm always kind of taking my hair in like a bottom half and a top half. If you have more hair or your hair is thicker, you probably want to do smaller sections. So this one's pretty tall of a section. So when I do, you know, around the back of my head, I'm going to always pull my hair forward. It's not going to affect anything. And now when I get to the back, I take my curling iron back around my head, which definitely takes some getting used to. So that's how I wrap it. And then I slide, hold it for a few seconds, and then I slide back up, slide back down. I'll rotate my curling iron, and then I slide down, and we're done. And for this look, I'm doing them all in the same direction. If you want something that's like a little more organic and looks a little more messy, you can most definitely do these in alternating directions, but I would always do the ones around your face, away from your face. So I'm taking another section. I'm going to wrap. And then I slowly slide. And once again, not being too rough on your hair. I'm not like yanking, I'm just holding and gently gliding with my right hand back and forth. So once I've done about most of this side, I'll switch to the other side. Once again, I always take like a little triangle. If you have any sort of like fringe, you just want to get your whole fringe area or your bang area. And I go to about where my recession is. And then once again, I'm going to flat wrap. So this side's a little harder. Just be careful that you don't burn your face. And I'm always, with these front pieces, I'm always moving towards my face. People always ask me how I get like a nice, like pretty swoop away from the face. This is how. You always want to bring it forward so that it moves backwards. And if they get a little too curly, you can just like tug on them a little bit, but not too much. And if it's easier for you to section your hair, go for it. But like I said, this is just my quick, easy way, and I do not section my hair. So like I said, this continues that line down behind my ear, about 2-inch section, and then flat wrap around twice, slide back and forth just a few times. Does not have to be on there long, and then just let go. And this technique is really great too because I'm always leaving out the tail end of my curl. And a lot of times when you start to see like split ends or breakage on the ends of your hair, sometimes it can be just from overheating those areas. The ends, if you think about how your hair grows from your scalp, your ends are the oldest part of your hair. So that oldest part of your hair needs to be protected and taken care of, or else it's going to break because it's probably been on there for quite a few years, especially if your hair's longer. And so I'm just moving back and forth. And I slide down and let go. Sometimes I'll kind of bring it down underneath these curls so they don't get into it once I get to the back, like so. But you just want to be very careful about burning your neck because I've done that quite a few times. And that's the thing about heat tools too. Like, it's okay if you burn yourself. We all do it. Nobody's perfect. Okay. So now once I get to the back, so all of the hair at the back of my head has just been left out because I do all the sides and then I work to the back. So this is about what the back of my head's gonna look like. And what I'll do is I'll just section horizontally once I get back to this point. I don't need to be too picky about what my sectioning is. I just grab and I go by like the feel. Like I can tell how much hair I have in my hand for my curls to remain relatively the same size. So I definitely go off of how it feels in my hand versus how large the actual section off of my head is. And so this one I'm going to wrap away. And it's okay, I've got like a few little hairs that fall out, that's totally fine. So I'm just going around the back of my head. I'm gonna slide. And then let go. And if these pieces in the back of your head don't end up being like the curliest pieces ever, honestly, I just let it go. I'm not really like super picky about how my hair is. And so then this piece, I'm going to wrap the opposite direction just because I feel like more of the hair is coming from this side of my head. So now I'm going to place and I'm gonna wrap towards my face, flat wrapping all the way around the iron. And then I'm going to slide. Let it sit for a few seconds since this section's a little larger. I'm gonna slide back up. I'm gonna slide down, and then I'm just going to let it fall. So now we have the entire head curled. I'm going to let this sit for a minute. So another thing with lasting curls is to let everything cool down before you go touching it, raking through it, messing them up. You want to let them sit, and once they're cold, then you can go through and touch them. So since I started right here, all of these curls are cool. And I'm going to start by using my Oi Oil. So this is also a Davines product. This is amazing. My boyfriend also uses this in his beard, which is really nice multi-use for it. You can use it in wet hair before you blow dry, or you can use it like a serum on your ends, which is what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to work that into my fingertips. So I go between my fingers as well. Really warm up that product. And I'm going to start just by smoothing that all over the ends of my hair. And it's okay if you're pulling down because I want my ends to be a little straighter anyways. I'm gonna do the same thing on this other side. And now I'm gonna do the same thing. My back curls are cooled off, also because I used a lower heat. So the lower heat that you're using, the faster your curls are gonna cool off. If you're using like 400, 450, it could be a while. So you definitely just wanna make sure that you let everything cool off first. And then whatever is left on my hands, I'm just going to work into my palms then. And I'm just going to start brushing out my curls. And let's just make sure that my oil gets in between all those curls. And then I'm going to take my wide tooth comb again, and I'm just going to, I brush from the underneath first. So brushing from the underneath will leave more curl on top and rake out your bottom curls more. If you go like this, it's gonna rake out the top. So I may do that, but I always like to go from the bottom first because then that sees how much my curls are pulled out. And then that way I'm not like ripping them all out immediately. And then I'll just comb through with my fingers most of the time. All right, here we go. And last but not least, I'm going to use my Davines Dry Texturizer. This is one of my favorite products. It is like if dry shampoo and hairspray had a baby, and it is so amazing. It gives great volume, great hold, and especially if you're like me and you like something that's kind of more like messy typically, this is a great product. So I'm going to shake it up. I'm getting down to the very end of this product, so I've got another one arriving soon. And what I like to do is I just like to pull my hair out, spray, pull it out, spray. For this side, I'll rake back this way. And then if you really want some volume, you can flip your head upside down or to the side. But I'm just going to leave it the way it is. And that is how I do just easy day-to-day beach waves with a wand. Alright guys, there you have it. That is my quick and easy, everyday, just loose, pretty waves. Like I said, today was a dirty hair day and we made it work. My hair does not look entirely greasy. It's got a little bit going on, but honestly, we're always our toughest critics. Even if you think your hair looks like a giant grease ball, chances are 50% of the people that you're around are not even going to notice. So I hope that this video helped you understand the importance of heat protection in many forms throughout your lifestyle, your at-home hair care, and a little bit of information on how those things can happen with different factors introduced. So if you guys have any questions at all, please leave them in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's video, please make sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe so you never miss an episode, and I will see you next week on Michelle's TV.